After I paid for my niece's college tuition, she cut me off completely. No calls, no thanks. A year later, I was sitting in a diner when I heard her voice behind me bragging about how she manipulated her sad old uncle for money. I turned around. She went pale. I smiled and said, "You should check your student loan balance." Because what she didn't know was, I'm Rick, 54 years old. I run a small auto repair shop in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, just outside Scranton. I've been in that garage more than half my life. No wife, no kids. It was just never in the cards for me. But I had my little family, my sister Beth and her daughter Jenny. Beth had Jenny when she was 20. Jenny's dad walked out by the time she turned 2. I remember holding her while Beth cried on the couch. I remember buying diapers, formula, baby shoes. I became more than just an uncle. I was the guy who always showed up. Jenny called me Uncle Rick for years. But as she got older, she started calling me my second dad. Said it made her feel safer. I helped raise that girl. When she got her braces, I helped with half the bill. When her old car broke down during senior year of high school, I helped get her another one. Used but reliable. She was smart too. First in our family to go to college. Got into a small private school in New York. Costly, but she got some grants and scholarships. Still left her with a gap of about $60,000 across 4 years. My sister couldn't help. Jenny sat across from me one night in the garage, crying, saying, "You're the only one I can trust. I'll pay it all back. Promise. I just need this chance." It hit me hard. I remembered how my life turned into hard labor right after high school. I didn't want that for her. So I pulled together money from savings, some old investments, and covered the gap. But I didn't just hand her the money. I had her sign a simple, legal promissory note my lawyer drafted. Nothing crazy. It clearly said it wasn't a gift. It had a few terms. She needed to update me once a year, keep in touch, and if she went no contact for more than 12 months, repayment would start immediately. She signed without blinking. Said I'd never disappear on you. She left for school that summer. Sent me a couple texts during the first semester. Then, nothing. No Christmas call. No birthday message. No check-ins. I tried not to let it hurt, but deep down it did. I called. Texted. Nothing. Even Beth didn't seem to have a good answer. She's just busy, she kept saying. Then came graduation. No invite. No pictures. Just silence. I wrote her off. Until one night in May 2024. I just finished a long day at the garage. Oil changes, brake replacements, the usual. I stopped by a little diner off Route 6. Small place with decent meatloaf and quiet corners. I was sitting with my coffee when I heard a loud laugh behind me, young, sharp, familiar. A girl said, "He was like, crying in his garage." I was like, "You're the only dad I've ever had." And boom, paid my tuition. Easy. Another girl laughed. "Wait, you actually said that?" Jenny, my niece, laughed. "Of course I did. Sad old man with no kids?" I played the role. Got my degree. Done and dusted. I turned around. She went white as paper. I stood up, looked her dead in the eyes and said, "You should check your student loan balance." Then I walked out. What she didn't know, what she never asked about, was that I kept every bit of paperwork. I still had the signed agreement. I had the emails where she acknowledged the debt. I had every legal duck in a row. The next week, she got hit with a formal notice from my attorney. Total balance due, $78,491, with interest and legal costs. And if she didn't start paying within 30 days, a lien would go on her car and her credit would take a hit. She called me the next day. First time in over a year. I let it ring. She left voicemails, texts, even emailed. Nothing that said, "Sorry." Just stuff like, "This isn't fair. You're ruining my life. I thought it was a gift. I didn't think you'd actually do this." I didn't respond. Beth came by my shop. Sat in my office, red-faced, trying not to cry. "She's just a kid," she said. "She didn't mean it. Can't you let it go?" I handed her my phone. Played the recording I took from the diner. I don't normally do that, but I needed her to hear it. Beth sat silent for a while. Then she got up and left. Jenny tried to fight the claim with a lawyer. Mine shut it down in under a week. The contract was solid. Now she's got wage garnishment, a credit score that's tanking, and debt collectors calling. Can't get a new lease. Can't buy a car. Can't refinance her loans. I didn't do it to be cruel. I did it because she lied, used me, and laughed about it. And because if someone burns a bridge, they should know it might not get rebuilt. Beth didn't talk to me after that diner recording. Not for a while. And to be honest, I didn't mind the silence. I needed it. But about a month later, I got a knock on my door around 9 at night. It was raining. I opened it to see Jenny standing there soaked through, makeup smudged, holding a stack of envelopes in one hand. She looked like hell. "Can I talk to you?" she asked. I stood there thinking. Part of me wanted to slam the door. Another part of me needed to hear what she had to say. I stepped aside. She came in, dripping water on my tile floor. She sat at the kitchen table and laid out the envelopes. Bills. Loan notices. Her car loan. Credit report. She said, "I didn't know you'd actually do it." I thought. I don't know what I thought. "You thought I was too weak to hold you accountable," I said. She didn't argue. Just looked down. "I'm not here to ask you to forgive the debt," she said. I need help figuring it out. I'm in deep. I got scammed on a fake apartment deposit. My roommate bailed. I can't even make rent. "You came here because you ran out of options," I said. She nodded. "And because you thought crying in the rain might work twice." That stung. She flinched. But she didn't argue. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out a USB drive. "Everything I said about you was wrong. But I wasn't the only one who said stuff like that. You should see what my mom said." I stared at her. "What do you mean?" She looked me straight in the eye. "You think she was just covering for me?" She helped plan it. I plugged the drive into my laptop after she left. There were recordings. Text screenshots. One voicemail from Beth saying, "Just say whatever he needs to hear, get him to sign it. Rick won't enforce anything. He's all bark. It's 60 grand. You'd be stupid not to." My own sister. The one I had trusted for years. I sat there in that kitchen until 3 a.m. listening to my sister coach her daughter on how to manipulate me. Telling her how to act sad. Telling her, men like him, old and lonely, they're easy. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called my lawyer. At her name, I said. "What name?" "My sister Beth. She helped commit the fraud." He was quiet. "Are you sure you want to take it that far?" "I'm done being the family idiot." A few days later, Beth got served. She blew up my phone. Voicemails, texts. All rage. "You ungrateful bastard. You think you're better than us? You'd destroy your family over money? And then the worst one, I hope you die alone." I didn't respond. Jenny sent another email a week later. Short. No tears this time. Just, "You were right. About everything. I'm sorry." I didn't delete it. I didn't reply either. I just let it sit there like proof that I wasn't crazy. Now both Jenny and Beth are facing consequences. The lawyer said it might take a while, but he's confident. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm just making sure they learn there are real costs for using people. They thought I was just some sad old man. They forgot I've spent my whole life fixing what other people break. And now, I'm fixing this too. A few weeks after Beth got served, I started noticing strange things. First, someone egged my garage late one night. I had cameras, caught two figures in hoodies, but the footage was too blurry to ID them. Then someone called my shop phone and hung up. Over and over. Always from different numbers. Then one night, I came outside and found my truck's windshield cracked. Looked like someone took a bat to it. That's when I realized Beth wasn't going down quietly. I reported everything to the cops, but they said it was all circumstantial. No witnesses, no solid evidence. Still, I wasn't stupid. I changed my locks. Got better cameras. Told my guys at the shop to watch their backs, especially when they closed up at night. Then came the letter. It was slipped under my door one morning. No return address. No postage. Just one sentence typed on a plain sheet of paper. "You should have stayed quiet, old man." I sat down, held the letter in my hands, and for the first time in months, I felt scared. Not just angry. Not just betrayed. Actually scared. I took it to the police. Again, not much they could do. But they took it seriously this time. Said they'd open a case. They advised me to keep a paper trail of everything. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part came 2 days later when one of my longtime customers, Mrs. Kaplan, whose Buick I've been servicing since 2011, called me up and said, "Rick, is it true what they're saying?" "What are you talking about?" I asked. She hesitated. I heard you were being sued for stealing from your niece. That you threatened her. That you're violent. My blood went cold. Turns out Beth was running her own little smear campaign. She'd been talking to folks around town, twisting the story, telling people I forced Jenny to sign some fake contract, and that I was bitter, trying to ruin Jenny's life out of jealousy. Said I was obsessed with being the hero. Even worse, she'd started posting online, Facebook groups, local community boards, spinning a story where I was the villain. Business dropped. A few regulars stopped showing up. That's when I made a decision. I scheduled a meeting with Jenny. Neutral ground. Public library, side room with security cameras and a staff member nearby. She showed up looking nervous, thinner than I remembered. I didn't know she was doing this, she said. She told me she'd handle it, but I didn't think she'd go after your business. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because she's out of control, Jenny said. And because I want to testify. I'll swear under oath that she told me to lie to you, that she helped write the message I said in the diner. I leaned back in my chair. I can get you a deal, she said. If I testify, maybe you drop the lawsuit against me and just go after her. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I saw it, the desperation, the survival instinct. She wasn't trying to make it right. She was trying to save herself. Nice try, I said, but no deal. She looked stunned. You'd take both of us down? You already took me down. Now I'm just returning the favor. The final court hearing was in early March. By then, the story had spread through town like wildfire. Some believed Beth. Some stood by me. But most just wanted a show. I walked into that courthouse with my head high. Not because I wanted revenge anymore, because I wanted truth. Jenny was there, dressed in a plain black suit. She didn't look smug anymore. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. Her lawyer whispered in her ear the whole time. She avoided my eyes. Beth showed up 15 minutes late, loud as ever, stomping through the doors like she was walking into church with something to prove. She saw me, rolled her eyes, and mouthed, "Traitor." She sat with her lawyer, arms folded, face stone cold. The judge listened to everything. The promissory note, the voicemail recordings, the text messages, the photos. The letter slipped under my door. Even the security footage of the two figures near my garage got brought up, along with Beth's recent phone GPS records. Jenny's testimony was the nail in the coffin. She cried on the stand. Said she was young, stupid, selfish. Said her mom pressured her to keep quiet even after the diner. She told the court that Beth had told her to say whatever it took to get the money and that once it was done, they'd cut Rick off, he'll get over it. When she finished, Beth lost it. She stood up, shouting, "She's lying. That ungrateful brat is lying." The judge ordered her to sit. She didn't. She kept yelling about me, about Jenny, about how I always wanted to play the victim and how we were ganging up on her. The bailiff had to escort her out. That was the last time I ever saw Beth. The final ruling? Jenny was ordered to repay $78,491, but the court allowed her to do it in structured payments because she showed cooperation and remorse. The judge also noted that while her actions were manipulative, she was pushed by someone she trusted, her mother. Beth, however, was charged separately for fraud, defamation, harassment, and contributing to the vandalism. Turns out the phone numbers tied to the prank calls and the IP used to post the fake reviews matched her devices. She was fined heavily and hit with a restraining order. Lost her job, too. She worked part-time at a local clinic. When her mugshot made the local paper, it was like someone flipped a switch in town. People stopped whispering about me. Some even apologized. But here's the thing. I didn't win. Not really. I lost my family. My niece. My sister. I lost business. I lost sleep. I lost a piece of myself in all this. But I did gain something else. Clarity. People show you who they really are when they think you're weak. They test you when they think you won't fight back. Jenny now sends me monthly payments. I don't respond. I just forward them to my lawyer. Beth left town. Word is she's staying with a cousin in Ohio trying to start over. Me? I go to work. I fix engines. I keep to myself. And every so often I pull out the promissory note. Just to remind myself, even a sad old uncle has limits. And when you push a man too far, even family stops being family.